Hey there, everyone. How you doing? So I wanted to create this video because we just finished up a holiday season. Lots of families came together, and I remember playing board games a bunch. Kind of during this time, and it actually got me thinking about one of my favorite board games when I was younger, and that was Monopoly. I don't know what it was about Monopoly. I guess I liked beating my family, right? I liked feeling like um, I liked feeling like I was buying things in real estate and building monopolies. And I don't know, I liked the game even before I knew the game kind of mirrored real life. And what I wanted to do in this video is kind of different than other kind of Monopoly videos that I've seen. Is I want to talk about the lessons that I should have learned while playing Monopoly that I didn't. And these only became obvious to me when I sat and I really thought about, okay, you've been a property investor now for almost 2 decades. What was it about Monopoly that you should have learned that you didn't? I also included one slide on this about what's not in Monopoly, because I think there's a couple of things in real life uh, that it would be nice to work in to Monopoly, but there are so many lessons there, and I'd love to hear from you. I think a lot of people that watch this channel have at least played Monopoly. Some of you really enjoy it. So after you see my list, I'd love to hear from you other lessons that you've learned or you should have learned while playing it when you were younger. So let's get into it. Just quickly share this with you. Move this out of the way. Expand this so I can see it better. All right, so lessons found in Monopoly if I was paying attention. So I think I have 9 or 10. Let's get into it. First one is you cannot win by just collecting a paycheck. I remember playing one time with some younger relatives, and I don't remember who it was, but I remember somebody being very selective when they bought properties, almost to the point where I remember thinking, why hasn't he bought anything? He's been around the track, around the board 3 times. And you just can't win that way. Sure, you can feel good in the beginning before people really have a bunch of properties bought, certainly before any monopolies are there, but you really can't win. You can't win Monopoly by just collecting a paycheck. And that didn't really hit me until really later in life. It's like, you know what, there's some truth in that, right? Earning a paycheck is not a way. It just keeps you in the 40-40 life. Also, the other thing is, everybody's set up to just play, at the same rate. Everybody gets $200 for pass and go, right? Everybody gets the same paycheck. And some people use it wisely and some people don't. So you can't win by just collecting a paycheck. And when I was playing this at a younger age, I would have just loved to collect a paycheck because money was a stressor and there wasn't enough of it in the beginning. So yes, collecting a paycheck feels good at the beginning of the game, right? Before you've bought really a lot of properties. But as you go around the 10th, the 15th, the 20th time, rents start to rise, inflation is real, and you just slowly get bled dry. As more and more properties are owned by other players, you are destined to slowly lose the game. And that wasn't obvious to me. I didn't put 2 and 2 together until, many, many, many years later. And that's, there's so many things in Monopoly that are subtle, and this is one of them. The other one is growth at any cost with maximum leverage might work based on the rolls of the dice, and it might not. I remember many, many times being uber aggressive, buying everything I landed on, mortgaging what I bought to buy more. And sometimes that worked. And sometimes I was over leveraged, forced to give stuff up, and ultimately was torn down. So again, another subtle lesson in Monopoly is growth at all costs with maximum leverage is not a great strategy. It absolutely can work based on the rolls of the dice, But do you want to bet your financial future on luck? That was something that was really subtle and I didn't get about the game until I had 20 years of real estate investing. And I saw people use maximum leverage, cross collateralization, blow up when the market turned. Here's another one. I don't know if you see this in Monopoly, but real estate investing is a people game. And I think Monopoly is a people game. Certainly, as you get deeper and deeper into the game, you need to start negotiating, trading. You need to be friendly with peers because you need to make win-win deals to help increase your chance, but also be in a position where, you know what, the recipient also has a better hand when they're done. You know, the win-win deals are the best things to make in Monopoly, and they generally give the participants a leg up other non-participants, right? If you're playing in a team of 4 and you're trading with one other person, both of you likely come out stronger in the negotiation, and the two parties not involved probably have, you know, a couple of monopolies to avoid. So again, I think Monopoly teaches you to negotiate, teaches you it's a people business, and that's something that is absolutely valuable with real estate investing. The other thing I've learned is some people just simply will not negotiate, right? They follow the mindset of I landed on it, I bought it, I'm not selling it, even if it's in their best interest. I remember one time trying to get a monopoly set up, and I was willing to give the recipient 2 monopolies to get this thing going so I could control a side of the board. And they wouldn't do it. They just don't. They just would not do it. And when that happens, it takes so much longer for the game to finish, but it's absolutely a strategy. And that's so true in real estate investing as well. Some people just don't want to negotiate. You know, it's their number or nothing. So again, there's so many subtle things in Monopoly that I should have paid attention to that I didn't. Location, location, location. Man, how many times have we heard that? And if you look at Monopoly and you really want to be a landlord, it's not always true. Yeah, you might want to live in the location with the penthouse view of the park and blah, blah, blah. But as a landlord, those high-priced properties aren't always the best investments. And frankly, they're not the best investments. So this location thing as a landlord is so misleading. And again, I didn't pick that up until much, much later in life. The one that I really enjoy and look back on and credit for our being financially free, and we write about it in our book. If you haven't gotten it yet, go get it, one rental at a time. It's coming out on Audible soon. That's going to be cool, huh? It's the first time I announced that. Getting a book on Audible is not easy and it's very expensive, but it's coming in January. I hope, knock on wood. But again, what I'm talking about here is the 1031 exchange. In Monopoly, of course, it's, hey, once you have 4 green houses, you can get 1 red hotel. That's magical. And it is probably, you know, there are so many things that happened on our journey to financial freedom that get credit, but that moving out of overpriced houses into underpriced apartments is a huge catalyst. And that's in Monopoly. It's, you know, it's called 1031 exchange in real estate investing, but in Monopoly, it's just 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. And there is so much magic in that. And again, starting small, right? Starting with a house, there's nothing wrong with this. This bigger is better strategy, I'm on record as saying is going to hurt some people because it's not, it has been true for decades, but today it's not true, in my opinion. The other thing I think is subtle about Monopoly, and it's kind of there, right, with utilities and railroads and waterworks, is you can make money other ways in real estate. You know, it's not really very apparent on Monopoly board because it is mainly about properties and addresses and streets, but you can, right? There are other ways to make money in real estate. You know, today's world is flipping and wholesaling and land contract and being a private investor and all of these different things. So, you know, it's on Monopoly board. I certainly wasn't paying attention to it in the beginning, but it is very, very true. Economies of scale work. This was, again, something really subtle about Monopoly. When you have economies of scale, it's more efficient. Think monopolies, right? I own the 3 yellows or the 3 reds. But if you just own one property on all 4 sides, you know, 1 yellow, 1 light blue, 1 green, that's not very efficient. And I feel for people that say, hey, I have 10 rental properties in 10 different cities. I hear that and I literally shake, because you have no economies of scale. You have no way of de-risking the situation. You're basically guaranteeing 2 of your 10 people are ripping you off and you don't even know it. Especially if you work full time. I mean, get economies of scale. And again, something we did right. I've been asked a million times, where'd you invest? Fresno, California. Why'd you stay? It's in the book. It's all here. We certainly did. I remember in 2008, we flew around to different cities, but we were not willing to create another team. That's hard. Boots on the ground, people you trust, hard. So again, economies of scale work. Life events happen and are out of your control. This is really only one square on the Monopoly board. I call it the jail, right? Going to jail. But there's also free parking. But life events happen. You could get sick out of nowhere. You could get in a car accident. Somebody you loved could pass away. Right? Life events are not. You can't plan for everything. Again, in Monopoly, there's one. Right? Go to jail now card. I think it's in the chance pile. But again, life events happen. It's subtle in Monopoly board, but now that doing this a couple of decades, it absolutely can happen. I've seen life events come out of nowhere and really change someone's plans and priorities. So again, very subtle in Monopoly, but so true. So a couple of things that I thought were missing. Cost of kids, right? There's no, hey, you just had a kid, no longer collect 200, collect 150 or, whatever it is. There's no just notion of cost of kids. For that matter, there's no cost of divorce, right? There's no notion of different income levels, right? Everybody gets $200 at the start and it stays the same. There's no real market cycles, right? There's not a card that says everything's half off, everything's 2x, right? There are real market cycles. I don't know if you've seen this, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki has a game called Cash Flow. It is wickedly expensive. I think I spent $200 on it. It might have been more. I bought it years ago. But I've played it, one of the early versions, right, with the income statement, balance sheet. Really got my accounting brain going. Again, very, very, very expensive game. But it has notions of kids and divorce and rat race and fast track and doodads. And it's a more complete game. And I find it a lot of fun. I've played it might be 100 times. But again, for people just starting out, I think Monopoly is a lot better because the cash flow game is a lot of math, right? Subtracting and addition. There's an income statement, a balance sheet. You've got to tie it all together. So it does take time. But I think it has more pieces. So in the end, do me a favor, if you are still watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, what's up? Come on, do a brother a favor. Also share this video if you like. Lots of people talk about Monopoly. I'm sharing what I should have learned, but didn't. And again, I'm on Instagram. If you don't know yet, One Rental at a Time is not only a book and a YouTube channel, it is also an Instagram page, and I have a Facebook page as well called One Rental at a Time. So go check it out. So what'd you think? Again, this video was created about what I should have learned from Monopoly and didn't. How about you? What were some takeaways from Monopoly? I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and leave comments below. And of course, have a wonderful day.